What if the Bible holds hidden clues about a world that existed before Adam, a world with civilizations, beings, or events that came before humanity as we know it today? In this video, I will explore some intriguing biblical verses and theories that suggest the possibility of pre-Adamic races. Ancient Jewish texts even state that before God created the current universe, which he called good, many other worlds existed, but were ultimately destroyed. Let's dive deeper, starting with the creation of humanity in Genesis 1:26-28. God said, "Let us make mankind in our image." He created both male and female at the same time in his infinite realm. This suggests that humanity was formed together before the events of Genesis 2, where the Garden of Eden was specifically planted. Then God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish, the birds, and every living thing that moves upon the earth." And so it was done. However, in Genesis 2:7, we see a more detailed account of Adam's creation. Here, God forms Adam from the dust of the ground, bringing animals to him so he could name them, this time within the Garden of Eden. This distinction is important. While the humans in Genesis 1 were commanded to multiply and fill the earth, Adam was given a unique role, one that sets him apart from the general command to humanity. In Genesis 2, Adam was given a unique role, to care for the Garden of Eden, not to subdue the earth as mentioned in Genesis 1. This distinction has led some to believe that the Bible describes two separate creations, a general creation of humanity in Genesis 1 and the specific creation of Adam in Genesis 2. Since God had already created animals on the 5th and 6th days, but then later formed animals from the ground in Genesis 2:19, some believe this suggests that the male and female created in Genesis 1, along with the animals, may have been part of a pre-Adamic world, a world that existed before Adam's formation. This could explain why Adam entered a world that was already inhabited by animals before his fall from Eden. But there's another clue suggesting that life existed on earth outside of Adam's family. In Genesis 4:13-17, after Cain killed his brother Abel, God punished him to wander the earth. Cain, fearing for his life, said, "Whoever finds me will kill me." But who were these other people if only Adam's family existed? The origins of Cain's wife also raise questions. While extra-biblical texts, such as the Book of Jasher, suggest that he married his sister, if that theory is dismissed, the question remains, where did Cain's wife come from? These details have led to speculation that there was another group of humans, possibly a pre-Adamic race, existing at the same time. This idea is further supported by the fact that Cain built a city, a task that typically requires more than one person. An even more chilling clue is found in Jeremiah 4:23-26, where the prophet describes a world in ruins. "I looked at the earth, and it was formless and empty, and at the heavens, and their light was gone. All its towns lay in ruins before the Lord." Many connect this to Genesis 1:2, where the earth is described as formless and void. While Jeremiah refers to God's judgment on sinful Israel, some believe he is also hinting at the destruction of a pre-Adamic civilization, a world that existed before Adam, wiped out by divine judgment. This is reinforced by Isaiah 45:18, which states, "God did not create the earth to be empty, but formed it to be inhabited." If this is true, could there have been an entire civilization before Adam, one that was wiped away before the world we know today? If God intended the earth to be inhabited, why does Genesis 1:2 describe it as formless and void? This question leads to a theory known as the gap theory, the idea that between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, an earlier creation may have been destroyed, leaving the earth in a state of chaos before Adam's arrival. One passage that adds weight to this theory is Ezekiel 28:12-17, which speaks of the king of Tyre, but is often interpreted as an allegory for Satan. It says, "You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created until wickedness was found in you." The king of Tyre is also associated with violence, pride, and trading, suggesting that Satan may have played a role in some form of trade or leadership before his fall. Some believe that Satan's rebellion led to a catastrophic event, wiping out a previous world and paving the way for the Genesis creation story of Adam. This could explain why the devil was already present as a cunning serpent when Adam and Eve were in the garden, suggesting that he had already fallen into sin before the events of Genesis. If the gap theory is true, it could represent a forgotten age, one with civilizations or beings that existed before Adam's creation, ultimately lost to history and divine judgment. While the Bible does not explicitly confirm the existence of pre-Adamic races, these verses open the door to fascinating possibilities. Interestingly, Jewish texts like the Talmud provide an even clearer picture of ancient worlds that may have existed before our current one. Could these ancient writings hold more clues about a pre-Adamic civilization? Just so we are all on the same page, let me briefly explain what the Jewish Talmud is before sharing the passage that speaks about the destruction of ancient worlds. The Talmud is a central text in Rabbinic Judaism, consisting of a collection of teachings, discussions, and interpretations of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. It is divided into 2 main parts. The Mishnah, a written record of oral law, summarizing Jewish traditions and commandments. The Gemara, a detailed commentary and analysis of the Mishnah, expanding on its teachings. The Talmud contains laws, ethics, history, philosophy, and spiritual teachings, and is considered a primary source for understanding Jewish law and tradition. It also explores deep theological and cosmological ideas, some of which discuss the nature of creation, the existence of other worlds, and divine judgment. Now, turning to the idea of earlier worlds being created and destroyed, this concept is found in Chagigah 12a, which states that God repeatedly created and destroyed worlds before forming the current one. The passage says, "Rab Judah said in the name of Rav, 10 things were created on the first day, heaven and earth, formlessness and void, tohu and bohu, light and darkness, wind and water, the length of day and night. The Holy One, blessed be He, created worlds and destroyed them, created worlds and destroyed them, until He created these current ones and said, 'This pleases me, those did not please me.'" This passage reflects the Jewish mystical belief that creation is an ongoing process, with previous worlds that were not perfect and were destroyed before the present world was established. So what do you think? Could there have been a pre-Adamic world that existed before Genesis? Share your thoughts in the comments.